sometimes you'll be given equations, sometimes you'll be given points, and then sometimes you'll be given graphs of different functions. Again, in Math 2, what we're going to focus on is the quadratic function, but you'll be asked to convert or change from an equation to a graph, from an equation to a table, or from a table to a graph, or from a table make it an equation. So that's what these examples on page 9 are going to help us with. My advice is to type an equation first. So f of x, and again, when you're typing an equation, you want to type it exactly how you see it. If you don't, you run a risk of having a misunderstanding between you and the system. So I have this equation. I'm going to highlight it red, or I'm going to highlight or color this box right here red. And what I want to do is find the table that it corresponds to in the graph. Now, I think the easiest thing to do is to find the graph. So one I can immediately mark out as not being the same is this bottom one. The reason the bottom one isn't is because this over here looks like a U, and this one over here on the right looks like an N. Therefore, it's either the top or the middle one. Now, as far as figuring out which one in particular, you'll have to do a little bit more research. If you look, these graphs have points already plotted for us. So what I'm going to do is actually click on one of the points in my Desmos app. If you see, I get -2, 0. Well, -2, 0 is from the equation x plus 2 times x minus 1. So I need a graph that has -2, 0. Well, the middle graph doesn't. Therefore, the top graph is the graph that must correspond with the top equation. Now, as far as finding which table now matches this equation and graph, my suggestion would be if you hit the settings button and then you click on table, it's going to actually pop up a table for you. Now, really important with functions from Math 2 on until calculus, 3 points is going to be your magic number. 3 points have to match in order for your equation or graph or table to all be equivalent. Okay, so if I look at this table, this first table, -7, if I type it, I get 40. Well, I need it to be -144. It's not, so I'm going to go to the next table. The first x value I see is -2, so I'm going to actually type it in. And I get 0, so that's good. I'm going to then type in 1. It's 0. It should have been 0, so that's good. And then last but not least, I'm going to try 5, and it's 28. Again, it has to have at least 3 matching points. If you get 2 to 3 matching points, that's all you will need, and that forces the equations, the graphs, the tables to be equivalent, because you're going to have unique graphs, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So y'all try matching these last 2 equations, last 2 tables, last 2 graphs with each other. And again, if you have questions, let me know.